it becomes kind of limiting when you become an adult. Like, I'm in my 20s, and there are some people who still see me as a child, who still perceive me that way simply because of their limited knowledge of what it is to actually be a disabled person, or like a disabled adult, I should say. We can do so much more as disabled people than what everyone else thinks we can. I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad. I want you to be aware. I want you to learn. I want you to understand that we as disabled people, even though it's hard for us, we can do it. You just have to give us the opportunity to do so.
Hey, mijo, when Ana Maria Magallon told me about you, she's like, you have to talk to Angel. And I immediately connected with, we were just on the phone, like chatting away. I felt like I had known you forever.
Yeah.
It was so fun. And you were so inspirational for me. I was like, I need to have you on my next podcast. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, I talk to a lot of guests
Hmm.
and I just try to give their story, their perspective, so that other people can just learn from different people. We all have a unique story, and I want you to tell your story in your unique way in raw. We didn't rehearse this. We're just talking. Tell us a little bit about you.
Like any good story, I guess I should start at the beginning. I was born with cerebral palsy. And the reason that I have cerebral palsy was because I was born premature. They told me that I was 27 weeks when I was born. So I was like really small. I like fit into my dad's like forearm. I was really tiny. And the doctors had told my parents, we give him maybe about 3 days to live. Praise the Lord. I made it past those 3 days. I'm, like I said, I'm going to be 26. And now here I am doing the best that I can, living my life. Now I just do my best to just kind of live my life and hopefully help other people better themselves, talk about what it is that I do and what it is like to live with this disability in hopes of spreading awareness and also inspire other disabled people who might not know how to handle having a disability.
Thank you for saying, you want to spread the word of what it's like, maybe how to feel more comfortable with it. People who actually have a disability. What about the people who don't have it? Spread the word about what it's like so that maybe we can also be more empathetic and learn.
That is really important, and I'm so glad you brought that up because it's something that I have been experiencing, especially now as a disabled adult. Because when you're a kid and people see you with a disability, people just kind of have you in that box of being a child. And it's okay when you are a kid. It becomes kind of limiting when you become an adult. Like, I'm in my 20s, and there are some people who still see me as a child, who still perceive me that way simply because of their limited knowledge of what it is to actually be a disabled person, or like a disabled adult, I should say. We can do so much more as disabled people than what everyone else thinks we can. I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad. I want you to be aware. I want you to learn. I want you to understand that we as disabled people, even though it's hard for us, we can do it. You just have to give us the opportunity to do so. And you have to like not only spread awareness for us, but you have to listen to us so that you can be a better ally and so that we won't have to make our own paths for ourselves. We can work together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I have been a part of so many programs and they're great programs. I love them a lot. But there are moments where I've thought to myself, like, am I the first person that a lot of these people have come to when it comes to disability or being an inspiration or, doing these great things and all that stuff. And I'm honored if I am, but there also needs to be an acknowledgement that there needs to be more. There needs to be more in general, in the sense of like, there needs to be more perspective. There needs to be more diversity in the way that disability is taught and spread around, because Lord knows I'm not the only person with a disability. Heck, I'm not even the only person with cerebral palsy. And even if you were to meet like me and another person with CP, none of us have it the same. No two people have it the same. Yeah, like there are different types of CP. Like that was something kind of mind blowing to me. And that's coming from me, a person who actually has it, you know?
So we shouldn't feel bad if we don't know.
Yeah. The only thing that you can do is just educate yourself and try to be better for the community that you're trying to be an ally to, and as well as yourself, because once you learn about other people and the community that you try to help, you'll become a better person.
You mentioned, there's ignorance out there. You've been in situations where you're just like, "What the heck?" We're not all the same, right? We need support, and I'm speaking particularly about that school situation. I think you were in elementary school.
Yeah. Yes. I had mentioned to you in our phone call that like this was my first experience with something that is called ableism. A lot of people are not aware of it, which is fine. But again, like we're gonna take it as an opportunity to educate everybody who's gonna be
Mhm.
watching this. Ableism is the discrimination against disabled people. And it's kind of like what other communities experience, maybe not in the same level, but it is discrimination, kind of like racism or misogyny or like sexism and stuff like that. The way that I experienced it for the first time was in elementary school, where there was a certain person, I will not mention them
No?
by name or anything because, God bless them. There was a certain person who was in a position of power where they said that all students had to use the main entrance. Usually that would be totally okay with any other student. But me being disabled, I had come to the realization like, oh, yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm different. And I had been using this entrance that was much closer to my classroom at the time. It wasn't the main entrance, like the front door of the school, but I would walk in and then I would just turn and there was my classroom. It was far easier. But at the time, this person in that position was like, no, all students need to do it. And at the time, I guess me and my parent assumed that, they're going to be flexible with us. They're going to understand because obviously he has a disability. He's different. They're going to be understanding. They're going to be empathetic. They're going to be flexible. Come to find out that this person had told my parent, we can't be giving Angel special treatment. He's going to have to do it like everyone else. Of course, if it was special treatment, like it
Yeah.
would be totally understandable. But the thing is, again, I am disabled. And from where we were parking, maybe like a block or so away. It was like a very long walking distance for me. And imagine like this little boy with this little walker and just being like in the sun and just like trying to
Mm.
get through the front door. And that's when my parent like literally said to the front office and to that person, he cannot do that. He cannot do that. He cannot be in the sun too long. He gets really tired very easily. He's not going to be able to pay attention in class because he gets so tired.
Yeah.
So either you accommodate him or, we're going to have an issue. And that was when I realized, oh, so that's ableism, that's discrimination. And also, I can't take it lying down, whether it's outward like it was in that moment or
Yeah.
whether it was subtle, you can't take that. So
No.
thankfully, I was able to keep using that entrance to get to my classroom without any more problems for the rest of my elementary academic career. But it taught me those lessons about what ableism actually is, the many forms that it could take, and how much ignorance there is. Because, like, it's obvious that this person did not think that the sun would affect me, or like I would get tired a little bit more easily, or that it would affect my ability to learn. They're not thinking about us as a community at large. And when I say community, I mean disabled people and able bodied people. Another story that I can give you, which is something that I mentioned in our phone call, was I was with some family on a trip not too long ago, and we were in a store. And this person is very dear to me. I love him very much. He was pushing me on my wheelchair, on my manual wheelchair, and he's around my age. He asked me, Angel, I have a question. And I'm like, yeah, go for it. And he goes, are there any perks to being in a wheelchair? And then I'm like, can you elaborate on that? And then he goes, well, I know that it's probably not always the best thing to be in a wheelchair or to be disabled, but like, I want to know. And I'm like, there is, obviously, yeah, but it depends on how you look at these things. And I asked him, why do you ask this question? Usually I get this answer of like, especially from young people, where it's like, oh, you get to sit down, you get to rest all the time. It must be really nice not having to walk around. And
Mm,
that's a very like narrow and privileged outlook where it's like they take it for granted the fact that they have the choice to stand up, walk around, and then sit down. I sometimes don't have a choice because of the way that my body works. But come to my
mm.
surprise that this wonderful human being, he tells me, one of the perks that I can think of, it just seems like you're never lonely. It feels like you're never lonely because you always have somebody pushing you around. And I gotta tell you, I hope that you're enjoying having me push you in your chair as much as I have fun doing it,
Oh,
because it feels like I'm connecting with you on a deeper level. And I was like, "Oh my god,
that's so sweet.
that's so sweet. This beautiful human. I love the way that he thinks." And it hit me so hard because never in my life have I ever experienced that type of question and that type of answer, where it's like they genuinely wanted to learn from my perspective, and it was a deeper, deeper question than I could ever have imagined. And I told him, I gave him this honest answer. You know what? Yeah, I am enjoying it. And I love being with you, and you gave me a new perspective on this. But I will be honest, another reason that this question and this answer, this whole interaction is so important was because sometimes as a disabled person, it does get kind of lonely, especially when you're surrounded by able bodied people that don't take the time to ask the questions that you just asked me, that
Yeah,
don't perceive what it is to be in a wheelchair or to not be lonely when people are not aware,
yeah.
and maybe sometimes they don't even wanna be aware.
Or they want to ignore it,
Yeah,
it
because it makes them uncomfortable.
it makes them uncomfortable, and do y I would venture to say that you probably feel that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What can we do in that case?
The first thing that you can do is acknowledge your discomfort and ask yourself why.
Ah,
Where is this coming from?
yes.
Or is this discomfort with this person who maybe happens to have a disability, or maybe even if you're meeting a person who is just different from you, where is this discomfort coming from?
Yeah.
You know? And then once you answer that question and you find the right words for yourself that makes you feel comfortable, and maybe you find the right words that will also make the other person feel comfortable to answer your question, go ahead and ask it,
Yeah.
because then it will lead to a conversation that will maybe enlighten you and broaden your horizons and want to motivate you to see the world in a different perspective and see different communities. And especially if you have like a connection, like for example, like me and this person have like a familial connection or a friendship or even a romantic partner, like you will make your bond so much deeper than it already is. And it will be healthier for it and stronger, you know?
And by the way, everything that you just said is advice for anybody that you feel uncomfortable with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anybody. Connection is just it's different, right? We gotta get in there
Sure.
and try to connect. Not everybody connects, okay? But we can
Uh-huh.
all learn.
Exactly. Yeah, not everybody can connect. Not everybody can connect the same,
Yeah.
but once we understand each other, we can.
I'm gonna skip right to kind of my fun stuff, all the jewelry that you made. So fancy. I felt so good putting this on today. And by the way, look at all this. I'm just going to plug you. Like if anybody wants a set, look at this. You saw jewelry at a store. I think you were 7 or 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
You fell in love with jewelry. Were you, like, inspired by somebody or just something, like, caught your eye, or how did you get started in this?
You kind of know the story already because again, we already talked about it, but the story was we were in a store and my dad was pushing me and I literally saw this stuff and I told him, "Dad, I want this. Can you buy this stuff for me? I want to make stuff." And he goes, "That's so much stuff. You're not gonna use it. What are you crazy?" Like he literally said to me verbatim, like, "Are you nuts?" It wasn't because I was a boy. No. But no, it was never because of that. He literally was just like, you he was stressed out because he it was like it was because he was stressed out and he was already thinking of like what would happen with all this stuff in his brain of like he's gonna leave it there. He's not gonna follow through with it. My little sister was like 2 years old at the time. What if she puts them in her mouth? What if it becomes dangerous?
Right.
So many things were swirling through his head, poor man. But
But he
um
brought you all the beads.
yeah, I convinced him and I started doing it and I loved it because it allowed me to be creative and he saw all of that. And I told him when I was done making about maybe like 5 bracelets in total, my first 5 bracelets, I told him, you know, "Can we sell them?" And then he goes, "Really? You wanna sell these things? I thought you were gonna give them to your friends at school."
Yeah.
And, I was 7 years old. Of course, he would assume that. But I tell him, "No, you know what? I wanna try and sell them at school." Obviously, it didn't work out because, like, a child selling things at school, obviously, it's not
I
gonna
like
work.
that. You're like an entrepreneur and they're pushing you away.
Exactly. Thank you. Um, but thankfully, my father, ever my biggest supporter,
Nice.
he took those little bracelets in a little bag to his office, and I had made, like, a little cutout of, like, a butterfly or something and stuck it on the bag, and I came up with a name, Angel's Fun Jewelry or Little Angel's Fun Jewelry,
Oh,
because, like, back then, I would play with the jewelry that I would wear and make for myself, and
yeah,
that's how I came up with the name,
yeah.
and so he comes back from his office with $20 in that little bag, and he goes, "Okay, so what are you gonna do with the money? What are you gonna buy for yourself, like a toy, whatever?" And I tell him, "I wanna buy more of this stuff. I wanna keep going." And then
Oh,
I'm like and then he's like, "Okay." And then we kept doing it, and we kept buying more, and they started helping me make the jewelry too, like, we started learning how to do things from other people,
yeah.
from the internet, and all that stuff, and I remember the first thing that I ever did was buy bars for my house so that my home could be more accessible.
Mm,
The way that I would get around was I would crawl on the floor,
mm,
and, that was very hard, um, and yeah, I honestly, like, I would have the walker, but the reason that I would crawl, like, is because, like, sometimes my equipment, like my chair or the walker wouldn't fit in the doorway. Yeah, that's the first thing that I ever bought, and then all of the bars were installed, everything was better, everything was great, you know? I was able to get around the house a lot easier, but then my dad goes, "Okay, so you have your bars. Do you wanna keep this going?" And I go, "Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it."
How old were you when you bought your
Uh,
bar?
I think I bought them in the same year that I started, so 7.
7 or 8 years old. You bought your own bars so that you can get around.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool. By the way,
and
everybody who's listening to this, I don't know how much you sell the sets for.
actually, it depends on what they are, okay? So
Something like this with the earrings.
okay, so the set would probably be the earrings by themselves are usually around $3,
Okay.
and the necklaces, I don't usually do necklaces like this, by the way. The necklaces I would sell maybe around for $15
Okay.
just because it uses a lot more material,
Right.
and usually I sell the bracelets by themselves for 5.
So we'll say 30 bucks with shipping if anybody wants a set, something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just throwing it out there, just throwing it out there. What do you want people to know? Like, if you had one message to give the world, what would that be about, you know, disabilities?
Disabilities are some of the most vast and diverse things in the world. Like I said before, no two people with CP have it the same way. And I'm sure you can imagine like all the different types of disabilities that are out there,
Mhm.
whether they're physical, whether they're mental illnesses, whether they're on the spectrum, so many things. I just want people to be aware, to educate themselves. Not that I'm opposed to educating people myself,
Yeah.
but able-bodied people and as well as other disabled people, I'm calling everybody in. You can't solely rely on others to do the educating for you. There has to be a balance of educating yourself and getting education from others. And when you get education from others, make sure you get it from the source. Get it from disabled people and you listen with an open mind without interrupting, without getting defensive or anything like that. Because what they're trying to do is educate you. They're not trying to attack you. What you are trying to do now is make the world a better place for this community
Yeah.
and for yourself. Because if it's not a good world for one person, it's not a good world for anybody.
That's beautiful, Angel. That's so beautiful. Now tell me this. If there was a little 7-year-old boy out there who's struggling with this and feeling bad, what would you tell Angel? Like a little Angel in that case?
I would tell a younger person, or really anybody with a disability or anybody who feels like they're being limited,
Yeah.
that, there will be a lot of obstacles in your way. I will not deny that. And there will be people who will limit you. Some who just do not want to see you succeed. And even sometimes people who love you and adore you and want the best for you, even those people can limit you and they don't even know it. As long as you have confidence in yourself and you have a strong sense of self and self worth, anything is possible that way. Don't limit yourself. Something that I've noticed is that a lot of people rely on others for confidence. And while that's great when you have a community,
Yeah.
you also need to build confidence within yourself. Find out what it is that makes you tick. Find out who you are as a person. Be kind to yourself, just like you would be kind to others. All of these things that I have been doing, like the business, um, and my community projects and trying to spread awareness, they took time. A lot of these things took years. I was confident and I found the right people who believed in me, who
Yes.
were willing to listen and who were willing to learn. I may have had a lot of obstacles, whether it's my body, whether it's other people, whether it's things that are in this world that are just limiting just because they're there. I may not have a regular job. I may have to make my own path. maybe it shouldn't be the case for a lot of disabled people, for a lot of people in general, where we have to make our own path because other people don't give us paths to follow. But if that need arises, we can do it.
Align with your believers, you know, you find your community, you find your people, right? That starts to build you up, allowing you to do what you love at 7 years old, and it's just a beautiful thing, and it sounds like, you know, people have told you amazing things your whole life. I always say the power of good words. It's, like, amazing,
Yeah,
right? It's, like, such
yeah.
your smile is just it's just such sunshine, and, I'm just gonna ask you one other thing. If I am missing anything that I didn't ask you or you want to get out there, this is your time, Angel Quintanilla.
First of all, I want to thank you for all the stuff that you're doing. Like,
Mm,
I've heard your story and I've watched what you're doing, and it makes me so proud
thank you.
to see all of the things that you have accomplished by spreading your story. But also, I want to thank you for being such a good ally. I know I've been saying that a lot lately, but it's true. You told your story and now you're taking the time to amplify other people. Yes. Yes. You deserve all of that praise. One, because it's true. There's not that many people that would be willing to do all of the work that you're doing to be a good ally to other communities. The next thing I want to say is that, you know, what I've been saying, get educated, learn from anywhere that you can find it, whether it's about the disability community, whether it's about any other community that's different from you, align with different people and see where you align, discover who you are that way, but also, don't rely too much on other people.
Yeah. Don't
Maintain,
rely on others for confidence. I love that. Don't rely on
yeah,
it's you. Do the work yourself.
yes, there needs to be balance. It's important to have community. But other people, like your family, your friends, your partners, anything like that, they cannot be your world.
That's right.
Your world is you.
Your world is you.
Your world is you. And you build it from inside out.
Do this. Yes.
Ah,
Ah,
what?
I love this. I love this so much. Anhel, you've been amazing to talk to. You're right. This is not the last time we're going to talk. I'm sure we're going to
Yes,
some more. I am so proud of you. I love my jewelry. I can't wait to get the other. And
yes.
I hope that we can make a difference. I'll spread this story as far as I can spread it. I'll send it to you. Everybody listening, Angel Quintanilla. Yes, 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 yes.
If you do want to reach me for the business, you can find me on Instagram at Little Angels Fun Jewelry. It's all together, all lowercase. If you want to purchase something or if you have any questions about disability or my projects like my annual toy drive and you want to help out and volunteer and spread a little kindness and love in the world, you can reach me. I also just wanted to show at least one of the other pieces that you inspired me to make. Because, like,
Yes,
ever since like you told me that you love butterflies, I bought more butterfly stuff.
yes.
I don't know if you can see this.
Stop. Stop. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'll be selling that maybe for uh like $15 plus
No,
shipping
no,
and
no, 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 no. You're gonna sell that for $30. We will
ah,
I'll be your first client for that. I'll be your first client. So
thank you so much.
no, that's beautiful, and I will wear it proudly, and I'm gonna wear all this proudly. I want to. I'll put all of your contact information on this so everybody can reach you, and we'll socialize all the good work you're doing. I love the toy drive idea. I saw your picture, and I saw a post about that. Angel, you are an Angel.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Art.